You're nothing but a lying gold digger. My father's voice boomed through our small farmhouse, making the family photos rattle on the walls. No daughter of mine would make up stories about dating some rich tech genius. My name is Emma Sullivan, and at 24, I stood in my childhood home, watching my entire family turn against me. My mother sat at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around her untouched coffee, refusing to meet my eyes. My younger sister Amanda smirked from the corner, probably feeling satisfied that her rumors have finally hit their mark. "Dad, please," I pleaded, one hand protectively covering my still flat stomach. "I'm telling the truth. James and I met at the tech conference in San Francisco where I was presenting my research. We've been dating for 8 months." 8 months? Amanda scoffed. "And none of us have met him. No photos. No proof. How convenient." The truth was James Chen had wanted to keep our relationship private. As the founder of Quantum Tech, one of Silicon Valley's fastest-growing companies, his life was constantly under scrutiny. We'd agreed to keep things quiet until after the merger he was working on. Only now, with a baby on the way, everything had changed. "I have proof," I said quietly, reaching for my phone. "I can call him." My father snatched the phone from my hand, throwing it against the wall. I watched it shatter, just like my family's trust in me. "The only thing you have proof of is how far you'll go to cover up your shame," he spat. "First you waste your engineering degree working on some secret project instead of taking the teaching job we found you. And now this fantasy about dating a billionaire." I touched my stomach again, thinking of the ultrasound picture tucked safely in my purse. James didn't even know about the baby yet. I'd only found out 3 days ago. I'd come home to share the news with my family first, hoping their joy would help me figure out how to tell him. Instead, Amanda's lies about me trying to scam rich men had poisoned everyone against me. "Get out," my father said, his voice cold. "Pack your things and leave. I won't have a con artist living under my roof." "Mom?" I turned to her, hoping for support. She'd always been the reasonable one, the one who encouraged my love of engineering and technology. She finally looked up, her eyes full of disappointment. "Maybe some time away would be good for you, Emma, until you're ready to tell us the truth." I felt the floor drop out from under me. Even my mother believed the lies. An hour later, I stood on the porch with a single suitcase, watching my father lock the door behind me. Through the window, I could see Amanda hugging our mother, playing the role of the supportive daughter while I was cast as the family disgrace. My hand shook as I pulled out my backup phone, the one James had insisted I keep for emergencies. I never thought I'd need it because of my own family. "Emma?" James answered on the first ring. "I thought we were meeting tomorrow in San Francisco." "James," I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need you." 3 hours later, I sat in his private jet, watching the clouds pass beneath us. James held my hand, his thumb running soothingly over my knuckles as I told him everything. About the baby, about Amanda's lies, about my family's reaction. "I'll destroy them," he said quietly, his usual calm demeanor cracking. "No one treats my wife this way." Wife. The word made me look down at the simple gold band he'd slipped on my finger an hour ago after I'd told him about the baby. It wasn't the proposal either of us had planned, but sitting in his jet, flying away from my old life toward our future, it felt right. "No," I said, squeezing his hand. "No destroying. They're still my family, even if they don't believe in me right now." James studied my face, his brilliant mind probably running through scenarios and solutions like he did with his tech problems. "Then what do you want to do?" I thought about Amanda's smug face, my father's anger, my mother's silence. "I want to give them time," I said finally. "Time to realize what they've done, what they've lost. And when they do," James prompted, a small smile playing at his lips. "When they do, we'll be ready to show them exactly who I am, who we are." He pulled me closer, his hand resting protectively over our growing child. 6 months, he said. "The merger will be complete, and there will be no more need for privacy. The world will know about us, about our baby." I nodded, closing my eyes and letting his strength support me. In 6 months, my family would learn the truth, not just about James and the baby, but about the secret project I'd been working on. The quantum computing breakthrough that would revolutionize the industry. The real reason James and I had met at that conference. They'd learn that while they were believing lies about me being a gold digger, I was actually helping build the future. 6 months, I agreed, my hand joining his over our child. Let them live with their choice until then. As the jet carried us toward San Francisco, toward our future, I couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising so high that those who push you down have to crane their necks just to see how far you've gone. 6 months passed like a whirlwind. While my family back in Cedar Grove believed I was probably living in chains somewhere, I was helping revolutionize the tech world alongside my husband. My morning sickness had finally subsided, replaced by a beautiful baby bump that James couldn't stop touching. We'd found out we were having a girl, and James had already started designing a nursery filled with both cutting-edge tech and classic childhood comforts. Mrs. Chen, my assistant Sarah, poked her head into my office at Quantum Tech. "The Times reporter is here for your interview." I smiled, smoothing my designer maternity dress. After months of secrecy, James and I had decided it was time to go public. The merger was complete, our quantum computing breakthrough was ready for announcement, and our baby girl was healthy and strong. "Send them in," I said, catching my reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows of my corner office. I barely recognized myself sometimes. Gone was the small-town girl in practical clothes. In her place stood a woman who radiated confidence, whose work was about to change the world. The interview went exactly as planned. The reporter was fascinated by our love story, the secret romance between a brilliant young engineer and the tech mogul who recognized her genius. But what really excited them was the technology we developed together. "So you're telling me," the reporter leaned forward, "that you developed this quantum computing solution before you even met Mr. Chen?" "That's right," I confirmed. "It's actually why we met. I was presenting my early research at the conference where James spotted me. He understood immediately what I was trying to achieve. And now Quantum Tech is about to launch the most advanced computing system in history, with you as the lead developer." I nodded, one hand resting on my bump. Sometimes the best partnerships are both professional and personal. After the reporter left, James came into my office, his face glowing with pride. "The article comes out tomorrow," he said, wrapping his arms around me from behind. "Are you ready for everyone to know?" I thought about my family, about how they would react when they saw the headlines. More than ready. That evening, as we sat in our penthouse overlooking the bay, I scrolled through my phone. Amanda had been posting regularly about her perfect life in Cedar Grove, her job at the local school, her involvement in community events, her endless praise of our parents. "Your sister's going to have quite a shock tomorrow," James commented, reading over my shoulder. Just then, my phone buzzed with a text from my mother, the first contact in 6 months. "I saw your name mentioned in an article preview. What have you done now?" The accusation in those words made my heart ache, but I didn't respond. Tomorrow, she would know exactly what I'd done. The next morning, every major news outlet carried the story. Tech power couple revolutionizes computing. Silicon Valley's James Chen and wife, Emma Sullivan Chen, announced breakthrough technology. The articles detail everything: my engineering background, our romance, the technology we developed, and yes, our expected baby girl. Photos showed us in our offices, at tech events, and at our intimate wedding ceremony 3 months ago. My phone exploded with notifications. Old friends from Cedar Grove sharing the articles in disbelief. Former classmates suddenly remembering they'd always believed in me. And finally, a flood of messages from my family. "Amanda, this has to be fake. You're lying again." "Dad, Emma, call us immediately." "Mom, please come home. We need to talk." I showed the messages to James, who had already received calls from my parents at his office. "What do you want to do?" he asked, always supporting my decisions when it came to my family. I said slowly, "it's time to show them exactly what they threw away." I drafted a simple response and sent it to all of them. "I'm presenting our new technology at the Silicon Valley Tech Summit next week. If you want the truth, you're welcome to attend." James raised an eyebrow. "The summit where every major tech leader and journalist will be present? Where you're giving the keynote speech?" I smiled, feeling our daughter kick as if in agreement. What better way to show them who I really am? "They don't deserve you," James said softly, pulling me close. "No," I agreed, "but I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing it for her." I patted my bump. "So she knows that her mother never let anyone's lies define her." That night, as James slept beside me, I looked out at the city lights and thought about how far I come from that day on my parents' porch. In trying to shame me, my family had actually set me free. Free to fully embrace my potential. Free to build a life with a man who saw my true worth. Free to create something that would change the world. Next week, they would see it all. Not just in headlines or photos, but in person. They would watch me walk onto that stage, 7 months pregnant, and demonstrate the technology I'd helped create. And maybe then, they'd understand what they'd lost the day they chose gossip over truth. The Silicon Valley Tech Summit was packed with industry leaders, journalists, and tech enthusiasts. I stood backstage, adjusting my microphone, when Sarah rushed up to me. "They're here," she whispered. "Your family just arrived." I seated them in the third row, as requested. I nodded, my hand instinctively moving to my stomach. Our daughter was particularly active today, as if she knew this was an important moment. Through the curtain I could see them, my father in his best suit, looking uncomfortable among the tech elite, my mother clutching her purse nervously, and Amanda, her face a mixture of disbelief and barely concealed envy. James appeared beside me, handsome in his tailored suit. "Ready to show them what a gold digger can do?" he asked with a knowing smile. "More than ready," I replied, squeezing his hand. The announcer's voice boomed through the auditorium. "Please welcome to the stage the Chief Innovation Officer of Quantum Tech and the pioneer behind quantum neural mapping, Emma Sullivan-Chen." The applause was thunderous as I walked out, my pregnancy visible and proud in my designer dress. I caught my mother's sharp intake of breath, saw my father's eyes widen, and noticed Amanda's mouth fall open. "Good morning," I began, my voice strong and clear. "Today, we're not just launching a new technology. We're revolutionizing how computers think, learn, and interact with human consciousness." For the next 30 minutes, I commanded the stage, explaining complex technology in ways that captivated the audience. I demonstrated how our quantum neural mapping could process data millions of times faster than traditional computing, while using only a fraction of the energy. "This isn't just theoretical," I continued, pulling up our test results. "We've already implemented this technology in medical research, climate modeling, and artificial intelligence applications, and this is just the beginning." Throughout my presentation, I never directly looked at my family, but I could feel their stares. This wasn't the Emma they knew, the quiet girl they dismissed, the daughter they'd thrown out. This was Emma Sullivan-Chen, tech innovator and soon-to-be mother, standing confidently before the world's leading minds. After my demonstration, the audience erupted in applause. James joined me on stage for the Q&A session, his hand proudly resting on my lower back. We fielded questions about the technology, our partnership, and our vision for the future. A reporter stood up. "Mrs. Sullivan-Chen, you developed the initial concept for this technology before joining Quantum Tech. What drove you to pursue such an ambitious project?" I smiled, finally allowing myself to look directly at my family. "I believe in pursuing truth, even when others doubt you. Sometimes the people closest to you won't understand your vision, but that doesn't make it any less valid." The press conference that followed was a blur of cameras and questions. Through it all, I could see my family waiting at the edges of the crowd, looking increasingly uncomfortable as they realized just how wrong they'd been. Finally, as the crowd thinned, they approached. My father spoke first, his voice gruff with emotion. "Emma, we had no idea." "No," I agreed calmly, "you didn't, because you chose not to believe in me." "Sweetheart," my mother stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "We're so sorry. If we'd known." "That's just it," I interrupted gently. "You shouldn't have needed to know about James or this technology to trust your daughter. You should have believed in me because I'd never given you a reason not to." Amanda stood slightly behind them, her face red. I shouldn't have spread those rumors," she admitted quietly. "No, you shouldn't have," James said, joining us. "Your lies could have cost the world an incredible breakthrough. Fortunately, your sister is stronger than your attempts to break her." My father looked at James, then at my pregnant belly, shame evident in his expression. "Can you ever forgive us?" I placed both hands on my bump, feeling our daughter move. "I'm not angry anymore," I said truthfully. "These past 6 months have shown me exactly who I am and what I'm capable of. But moving forward, things will be different." "Different how?" my mother asked anxiously. "Your granddaughter will be born in 2 months," I explained. "If you want to be part of her life, you'll need to prove that you've learned from this. No more assumptions, no more gossip, No more choosing comfortable lies over difficult truths. They nodded eagerly, desperately, but I wasn't finished. And Amanda. I turned to my sister. You'll need to understand that success isn't a competition. Your lies didn't hurt my career or my relationship. They only showed your own insecurities. Later that evening, James and I sat in our favorite spot in our penthouse, watching the sunset over the bay. The day's events had been exhausting but cathartic. Do you think they really understood? James asked, his hand gentle on my stomach. I smiled, thinking about my family's faces as they'd watched me on stage. I think they finally saw me, really saw me, for the first time. And our daughter, he asked softly. What do you want her to learn from all this? That her worth isn't determined by other people's beliefs, I said firmly. That the truth always comes out. And that sometimes being pushed away from where you were can lead you exactly where you're meant to be. Our daughter kicked, as if in agreement, and we laughed, looking forward to the future we'd built, not despite my family's rejection, but because of it.